All right, everyone, we've got to talk about a Percy Jackson plot hole that I just noticed for like this. I just noticed it for the first time when I was reading the books, but I've heard about it before, but like I never really thought about it before. I'm doing a reread of all of Rick Riordan's books right now. Started with Percy Jackson, did Kane Chronicles. Now I'm on Heroes of Olympus right now, and I'm actually in the House of Hades right now. And that's why I just realized this plot hole that, like I said, I've heard about it before, but I never really thought about it before. So basically, this plot hole is the fact that in The Son of Neptune, Hazel Levesquez, when she's kind of taking Percy around Camp Jupiter, she mentions, what can I talk today? She mentions that Octavian is a descendant of Apollo. Octavian the Augur is a descendant of Apollo, a legacy of Apollo, I think she says. Because at Camp Jupiter, you don't have to be the son or daughter of a god to be there. You can be like the granddaughter, the grandson, you can be the great-grandson, you can have a god in your lineage like 200 years in the past, and you can still be at Camp Jupiter, which is pretty crazy. But Hazel tells Percy that Octavian is a descendant of Apollo, a legacy, that Apollo is not his father.
Octavian, I am not your father.
Oh, sorry, I just had to do it. I don't know why I did that. All right, so that happens. But then in the House of Hades, Jason Grace has a dream where Rachel and Grover, I believe, are talking to Raina and Octavian, because Rachel and Grover just found the napkin that Annabeth Chase burned in Tartarus, and it showed up at Camp Half-Blood with a message on it. So they're bringing the message from the napkin to Octavian and Raina, and Octavian says some whatever stuff, and then at one point Rachel just like, she just yells at Octavian, she's like, Octavian, son of Apollo, blah, blah, blah. She says something else, but she calls him son of Apollo. Now, I'm no scholar, I'm no historical scholar or grammatical scholar, but I believe when you call somebody the son of somebody, it doesn't refer to you being the grandson or great-grandson of that person. It means you are the son of that person, like that person gave birth to you, or that person's significant other gave birth to you. You know what I mean? So why is Rachel calling Octavian the son of Apollo when we already learned that he's not the son of Apollo? He's a pretty distant descendant of Apollo. The way I see it, there are three plausible options here. Number one, Apollo truly is Octavian's great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather or whatever. But then, when Octavian was being born, his mother got back together with Apollo. And so Apollo is Octavian's father as well as his great-great-great-grandfather or whatever. Which would be really shady, I'm not going to lie. Option two is that Octavian has always been led to believe that Apollo is his great-whatever grandfather. But maybe his parents were just telling him that to confuse him for some reason, and it's actually his father, which that doesn't make much sense, actually. Never mind. All right, now option number three. This is probably the most likely scenario. Rick Riordan forgot what he was doing. Rick Riordan forgot that in The Son of Neptune, he wrote that Octavian was a descendant of Apollo, a legacy of Apollo, and then in the House of Hades, he wrote that he's the son of Apollo. This is the most likely scenario. I mean, Rick Riordan has forgotten plot points in the past. I mean, we all remember Blackjack the mare turning into Blackjack the stallion, right? We all remember Thalia Grace's eyes turning from blue to green, or was it green to blue? It was one to the other, but we all remember that. Rick Riordan is not exactly the model citizen of continuity in his books, but I forgive him. Okay, I forgive him. He's written a ton of books. It would be hard to contain this continuity. It would be hard to keep it going, so I forgive him. But still, I feel like this thing would have been not that hard to remember, that Apollo is not Octavian's father, but he's like his great-whatever grandfather. I feel like that'd be pretty easy to remember, so I don't know why Rick didn't remember it, but he didn't.